All right. And we're rolling. All right. Chris DeRosa.
Rolling. Let's go.
About to enter. Here we go.
Let him in.
Admitting. Coming up.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Chris.
How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. How you doing,
Good,
buddy?
good.
Pretty good.
See, he's got the pro mic and the headphones.
Does have a pro mic.
You gotta get
These
on our
are-
level now, bud.
Yeah, I gotta step my game up.
So, have you guys met before?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, man.
I know your name, but I don't think we've ever worked before.
Okay, because I saw your answers to the questions, and I've worked on Housewives, but not since season 6 or 7, possibly. I can't remember what season I stopped.
Yeah.
On that show, but I feel, who knows, man? It's a small industry. We probably cross paths at some point.
I'm sure.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for doing this. You got the questions and stuff like that. You ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm just going to let you guys lead me.
And this is Open Walkie. I'm Jeff. That's Canfield. We got Chris DeRosa on the podcast today. How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good.
Yeah. What you been up to lately?
Oh God, so much.
Weird. It's been a weird year.
It's a weird year, and now I feel like it's things are happening, then they're not happening, then they are happening, then they're maybe like it's very strange, and then it's all at once, and then they're like tomorrow it's happening, and you're like okay, and then you're there, and then you're not.
And then then it's like,
you know what I mean? Am I the only one that feels that way?
No, I think it's a weird waiting game all around, and no one knows what's going to happen next. I think we might all be taking vacations this summer. I don't know.
I mean, I'm planning one right now, but I feel on the West Coast, it's weird. Like people are working. A lot of PMs are working on projects, but a lot of crew is kind of iffy, just like here.
Is it all pre-pro? It's all pre-pro, you think?
I think so. Yeah, which means that things will be probably a month out. But anyways, yeah, it's a weird year, but that's why we can do this, and we have time to do this and stuff like that, and hear people's stories. So
we like the stories. Yeah, yes. Tell us about yourself, since I don't know you so well.
Yes, let the viewers know.
Okay, what do I even say? I grew up in. Yeah, I was born. I grew up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, which is like an hour north of Pittsburgh, 15 minutes away from Ohio, so almost the Midwest. Basically, it's a small town. There's Amish people 10 minutes away from us. Like we didn't have a lot of chain restaurants. Like it was the middle of nowhere. So TV was really like my window into the outside world, especially like I grew up when like the real world was in full swing, and like Road Rules and America's Next Top Model and American Idol and all those shows. And so that was like my way to like look into like what the rest of the world was doing outside of like my small town, outside of a medium to small size city in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So from your answers and from your description that you just told us, you kind of always knew what you wanted to do. You got hooked in right away.
It's like weird because I don't think put on paper, like I wanted to be a reality television producer, but I was always like writing stories when I was a kid. I was always I always was like making video game ideas, and I was like, I'm gonna like make video games one day, and it's gonna be like that. I don't know. Like I always like wanted to do things that involved storytelling, but I never, up until I started really being in college, was like, I want to work in television for sure, 100%.
What did you feel like you? What do you think that what kind of storytelling did you think that you were going to get into?
I don't know. I didn't think about it. I just did it. Like I just went and then figured it out as I don't know.
And then you woke up a bunch of years later, and now you're talking to us is basically what happened.
Well, it's weird to like look back and be like, oh yeah, I really was like doing exactly what I do now. Like my friends and I, when we were in high school, made like a real world where we were just like had my dad's Sony Handycam and was like pushing record and then pushing stop and then pushing record and then pushing stop. And I like had them doing confessionals in like the confessional room. And then we had scenes, and then I really was like directing like a short film that was like a exact copy of the real world. with and stuff when I was a kid, but it was like that was just like fun for us. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like I want to say
clearly you were inspired by the content you were watching, and whether it was intentionally or subconsciously, like you're like, I'm doing this.
I was probably like 14 or 15 years old.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So like back then you were kind of like redoing reverse engineering all the stuff that you were seeing on TV, and now you're
for sure
doing it. But then but then did you study that in college? Or
yes.
Like you did?
I did. Nice. I went to film school. I went to Penn State, right in the middle of the Jerry Sandusky scandal, which was very crazy.
Wow, that was a deep history cut right there.
That was, sorry to bring the mood down. But yeah, so I went to Penn State. I was in the film video program.
How was it there? Was that a good program?
I liked it. I mean, it's funny because I was a kid from the middle of nowhere with no contacts. If I would have grown up closer to the city, I probably would not. Like, look, hindsight, it's like I could have just started working and not had to spend $8 bajillion on college. But I had no idea what. Like that was my stepping stone to then move to New York to then work in TV. You know what I mean? Looking back at as an 18-year-old kid that knew nothing, like what else was I going to do? But if I would have lived in like the greater New York area, like I probably would have not even gone to college. I would have just started working.
Really?
Nice. Well,
I think so. I was I had good grades. I was like a star student, nice. But so my parents have been like, please get a college degree. Yes. But like I was graduating college when that like slump of, okay, all these millennials are coming into the workforce and there's no jobs for them. So it was like, I thankfully was working, but like many of my peers, it took them a long time to get jobs. And so it's like, look, again, hindsight.
Right.
It's like, did I need to do it?
Yeah. I mean, I think we all look at our degrees and we're like, did we need to do that? Do we need to get debt? Do we need to go to school? I mean, at my time, I graduated college in 2006. So it's like, I was going to college and then I figured out what I wanted to do. I grew up right outside the city. So kind of like what you're describing, but I didn't have any contacts to get into the industry. So going to school at least gave me a platform to get internships, which is how a lot of people start.
Well, and that's how I basically, when I graduated, the seniors, and I go back every year that I can, the seniors and some of the juniors would do this thing called Film and Friends, because there's this huge career fair for college students that's in New York City. And so all the people in the College of Communications would go up in these buses to New York to meet with people. And like, there's like, advertising firms and marketing firms and PR and this and that. So there's all that stuff for those people. But for us, there's no career fair to like work on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So, you know what I mean? Like, so they started doing this thing called Film and Friends, where like you would network with people in the industry that are mainly freelancers that you would like talk with. And I met someone there who was like the catalyst to me getting my first job in the industry. So it's like, it did actually pay off in the way that like I did make connections with people that I still talk to today from being a student at that meeting.
Nice. Did you wind up going into like an internship or something like that? Or
no, I was done. I did an internship in the city that basically it was in Long Island City at a place called the Secret Theater. And they wanted to make a documentary about this arts fair that they did. So we shot like a little shitty documentary and I edited it. And so that was my internship, but that was mainly to be like, okay, I need to like come live in New York and like see if I really want to live here. That was like mainly what the focus of that was, which I did. And it was fun. And hold on. I'm assuming we edit this.
No, we try not to. But
really? Okay, well,
play it all the way.
But if you say something bad, we'll cut it out. But
no. I'm just saying if I have to collect my thoughts.
Collect your thoughts, man. We're just having a conversation.
But basically, from there, I moved right to the city, and I got my first job on Iron Chef America's final season, which we did not know at the time.
Nice.
Which was shown.
What year is that? Could you just
2013?
2013. Okay.
July. It'll be 10. I'll be living here for 10 years this summer.
You get your card. You get your city card at 10 years. Yeah.
Well, he's in Hoboken, so I'm not sure.
Well, I live in New Jersey, so not really.
You don't get it. Yeah, you don't get it.
But yeah, so I basically worked on Iron Chef America. It was still like in-house at Food Network, which like doesn't happen with anything ever. Like even coming into that job, like weirdly not knowing anything, I was like, this is ending. Like I was like, there was like 900 cameras and there was smoke and there was cool stuff. And there was just like so much production work of it that I was like, there's no way that this still goes on. And it doesn't. And we don't shoot things nearly as heavily as they did back then.
Even the Iron Chef that's coming on Netflix, I don't think is going to be as big, but yeah, that's so you from there. How did you get to the next thing? Like if from the bigger shows to like the smaller like docuseries stuff.
I basically went from that, and then like my boss really liked me and put me up for like another show that was like a Rachel Ray, like one person stand-up show for like 2 weeks. And Iron Chef America was like 2 weeks. Right. And at the end of those 4 weeks of work, I literally was like, this is the most money I've ever made in my life. Looking back on it now, I'm like, LOL, that was like not even that much money at all. And
same.
But like it was the money that I could like use to then like furnish an apartment and like actually pay rent and live off of until I started my next thing. And from there, I was just doing like one day PA stuff and just like did everything that I could to just keep getting jobs to like get my name out there. And I just like kept working. I then did Chopped. I then started doing a thing called The Kitchen, which is still on Food Network. It's like Saturday mornings. It was like Food Network's response to The Chew when The Chew was on ABC.
Right.
With a bunch of the Food Network talent. And so me and my friend Aaron O'Malley used to get hired as like the talent PAs, like as basically a pair, and would like work on these shows together and be like the talent PAs for these Food Network celebrities. And then from there, I got an offer for Real Housewives of New York, and was a PA on that. That's when I met you, Jeff.
Yeah, I've been for a while now.
That was season 7. That was like probably what
2016.
No, like 14. Yeah.
Wow, because I got on at like season 5, I think, with Brett Albrecht as the
yeah. That's what I'm trying to connect in my head, because I worked on it when Brett was there. I mean, I day played. I didn't commit to the season, and I worked on it when Amy was there and Ty was there.
Right. So you were on as a PA, or were you like? Because I want to admit I think you were like wrangling talent and stuff like that back then.
Yeah, I was a PA. I was like the key PA.
The key PA, and then like the main Bravo talent person, I feel.
And that, I wish. But then we started. But I moved up through New York. Like, I mean, I worked on 7 seasons of it and did different jobs every single time.
They got you good on that one.
Yeah, but that was sporadic. Like I worked for 2 seasons, then I left for 2 seasons, then I came back for 2 seasons, then I left for, you know what I mean? It wasn't just straight through. I've never like stayed at a show and just been like, okay, I'm doing this for 5 years. I've never done that. I always have moved on. I've always like been like, okay, I did this. I need to leave and come back. I've always felt like the minute I start to do too much of one genre, it makes me nervous. And then I start to be like, okay, I need to do a cooking competition show now, or I need to do like just a strict competition, or I need to do a one person, like where we follow one person around the whole time. Like every time I feel that I'm like just getting the same of one genre, I try to like not get stuck there.
That is a good attitude to have that a lot of people don't like, they tend to get pigeonholed and, because like constant work and, the offer of constant work is very enticing, but like for you to, spread your wings like that and to kind of like, gain the skills you need as a producer is a good thing. Do you have a favorite like genre that you kind of like work on, since you worked on a lot of other kind of reality genres?
I don't have.
Or do you love the docuseries
favorite? I don't have a favorite, because like by the time I'm done with like all 2 seasons of like a Housewives, I'm like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? And then I want to do a studio show where every single day is the exact same thing, and you know what time you need to be there, and then you know what time you need to be like, you know what time you're out of work every day.
Oh, it's great.
And then after like a season or 2 of that, I'm like, okay, I'm bored now. I don't want to be in a studio anymore. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to like yell at someone. Like I want to like have chaos. Like I want like, which is like fucked up, but like, I want like things to be burning down around me so we can then like activate and then like fix it. Like
I was going to say, I could totally relate to everything you're saying until you got to that chaos part. I'm like, because I think we all have that as freelancers. Like, work on one project and, you see the same people every day and you're like, all right, I'm good. Let's go to the next one. Like that's totally understandable, but you're addicted to the drama.
And then I don't want it. And then I'm in too deep, and then I want out. And then I'm like at another job. And then I'm like, why aren't you guys like mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, can you guys like be annoying so I can yell at you? Like, then I want to get in a fight. Then I want to, like I want to, and then I want to do something really easy, and then that's boring, and then I want to do something that's really hard, and then and then I'm annoyed. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm never.
Is there like a happy medium show that you've gotten to, in your career that kind of like gives you a little bit all?
I think that no matter what, like there's always the positives of everything and there's a negatives to everything. Like if it's something that's really like if it's something that's really big and it's like, oh my God, this is like a big show that everyone loves. And like, it's, America's Got Talent. I'm making this up. I've never watched on America's Got Talent. This is a hypothetical. Like America's Got Talent. Then it's like, you're not like, there's zero creative input that you're bringing to the show. Do you know what I mean? So yes, you might be working on America's Got Talent, but you're just like a robot, a cog in the wheel. Yeah. Let's just say.
Right.
Again, allegedly. But like, then you get work on like this little 1 season thing that's like a disaster. But at the end of it, you can say, I literally didn't sleep for a month and a half, but like every single real choice that was made by anyone to like create this show, I made. Do you know what I mean? And then there's something that's really rewarding about that. And then there's like Housewives, where it's, not a well-oiled machine, but like it's been on for a long time. We know what the show is. We know who the people are. And it's a medium of those two things of like, this is what it needs to be, but then also what are some creative, we need creative input into what to do. You know what I mean? So there's times when I don't know, it's never going to be perfect is what I think I've learned is like, there's always a negative.
What do you find the most fulfilling then, if that's the case?
I don't know. I'm always on to it's fulfilling for when it's fulfilling and then it's not. And then I'm moving. But the thing that I think that I did well, not to toot my own horn, is like, I do have almost every single major genre of reality television on my resume. So it's like if someone, whether it be a dating show, a cooking competition show, a strict just competition show, a Housewives wannabe, a real estate show, a daytime talk show.
Do any Reno shows?
I've never done a Reno show. That's the only. No, that is not true. I did one that was. I did Bethany and Frederick. It was when their spinoff where they were flipping stuff. So technically, I did one. That's like, you got me there a little bit though. That's like my.
That's Reno. That counts. I remember that show.
My weakest genre, but like recreation murder show, done it.
Nice.
So that's something where I feel that like. I can say that, but then at the same time, whenever they want like someone that has like every single cooking competition show that's ever existed on your resume, like I don't have that. So it is there are pitfalls to it.
You're not a legacy producer where you're just like sticking to one specialty, which is good that you don't get typecasted as that type of that type of producer.
Yes.
That's good. But then what is it?
But sometimes that's what they want. And then I interview and then I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Same.
And then I go into the interview and I know that I'm not going to get it because I'm like, you want the person that's done Project Runway for 95 years.
Right.
And I haven't. I've done like this and that and this and that and this and that. And you want the person that's like never done a show other than Project Runway. And then so I'm like, all right, this has been a great interview. And then like, I know I'm never going to hear from them ever again.
I've had the same, like last week, I've had like a ton of like interviews and meetings and stuff like that. And you could tell when you go into some place that you're like, oh, they're like looking at your resume. It's like, oh, you're kind of all over the place. And I'm like, that's a good thing.
No, it's a great
but they're
thing.
Looking
and
for a certain thing.
And I wish that people thought of that more because that's an upset for me. Like a thorn for me.
I think it's a good thing to have diversity, like for a number of reasons. Probably mental health is one of them, and then also just I don't know. Personally, I would not want to do one type of show all the time either. So
you can't grow as a in your career and
as a creative person too. It's like, why would you want to consistently do the same thing over and over?
Right.
Well, and there's it even like producing talent, like there's times when people will be like, oh, this person's like so difficult. Like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And then I like talk to them and they're like completely fine. And like, I'm like busting chops with them and we're having we're laughing. Oh, we're laughing. It's the best thing. And they're like, wow, like what? And like, how could you do that? And I'm like, cause I have to like, I've like been in the trenches with talent where I'm like, you know what I mean? Like we're going head to head with each other in ways that you've never even seen before. So like, this person who's like kind of annoyed every morning because they're tired because it's 6:30 in the morning isn't hard. Sorry.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
you've been through worse.
Yeah.
But it shows your experience. It should show your experience. But when it comes to like, you're obviously entrenched in the reality world, from day one, pretty much. Like, do what is it about like this genre though that you like find so like that you want to stick with as a producer rather than like say try your hand at like producing films or narrative or things like that, you know?
I have friends in the documentary world. I've heard stories that don't make me happy. And that's not to like slam anyone or like say
I'm
the
sure they would say
suck,
the same thing about,
but like,
about, you know,
yeah, like
reality.
sure. And all the lights literally just turned out on me. Hold on.
It's okay. People are just listening to this in their car on the way to.
They're literally like turning the lights on. In my own home, the lights are turning off on me. Okay.
There you go.
So there's like I have ideas for shows that are very much not the Real Housewives of New York City. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the thing that I kind of like. I would love to do more things like that. I would love to do other things, but I'm not like, I don't know. Is it that I don't let the genre define me as a producer? I don't know. Am I being really pretentious by saying that? Am I like not? Do I not care? Like I'm a Bravo fan outside of being a producer. Like I've watched, like growing up, watched every single thing they put on TV up until I started working on it, and still to this day watch almost all the shows.
Right.
So like I am, and I'm not fangirling out about the talent anymore. But like when I first worked on Real Houses of New York, it was my dream come true, and my mom was like having a mental breakdown, heart attack, because it was the best thing that had ever happened. And it was like all my friends from high school and college were like, oh my God, we used to joke about how you would work on those shows. And even nowadays they're like, and you literally now do that all the time. And it's so crazy. And I'm like, some people, yeah, it kind of is. Oh, I haven't thought about that in a long time. But there's something about reality TV where like when the trailer for the new season of blank show drops and it's on page 6, and then there's press, and then every single Instagram account is like posting about it, and they're all so excited, and it's this and it's that, and there's memes already, and there's this, and people are like quoting the quotes, and like and the this and the, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, was that your voice in the background as the producer of asking the questions? Oh my God, I thought I heard you. Like there's something about that that's so addicting, and I don't think there's many other jobs in the world that like that happens for. And there is a part of that where like after we're done with like, we're like, I'm never doing this again, like fuck this, like blah blah blah, whatever, like, you know, happens on a show, that it then comes out and it becomes someone's like favorite thing that they've ever watched, that's so rewarding, that then is like frozen in time forever on like a streaming service and or like an on demand, that like you can't. What other job do we have that's like, if you're a doctor, if you're a surgeon, yes, you do some surgery and you literally save someone's life, like, which is extremely rewarding. Then like that person goes on with their life, and then no one knows. No, correct?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you are an accountant and you like save someone a bunch of money on their taxes, like that's really great.
It's like, thank you.
That person's like, thank you for doing your job as my accountant. Like, thank you so much. And then you live on with your life. Like my sister the other day was like, my friend, these people at my work conference just found out that you're a producer on Bravo, and they're all having a mental breakdown about it.
They love it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then she's sending me, and she's like, and I'm showing them photos of like, here's my brother, like, you know what I mean? Or like us with like the housewives, or like, here's me and here's my mom and my brother's boyfriend in the background of like blank show. And they're like, people are like shitting their pants.
You like show business. You like the whole
I'm a consumer. I love to watch TV. I love scripted. I love non-scripted. I'm a watcher. I'm a viewer. Yep. I'm a viewer.
I mean, I think all of us had to be viewers at some point to want to do this. I mean, you know, not that everyone's living out their dream or fantasy, but it sounds like you're kind of doing something pretty close to it.
And like, I didn't want to be like a film director. Like I just didn't.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I like talking with people. I like producing the person to then go into the scene to then do what like they need to do. There's something about that I really like. And I used to in college sell like clothing, and I loved, and like surprisingly, I'm like the only person alive that literally liked working in retail. I loved working in retail.
I loved working in retail.
So you're in sales.
I loved
you're in sales.
A woman coming in and being like, I need a dress for a wedding. It's in the summer. It needs to be cocktail attire. It needs to be long. I hate the color pink. Go. And we would be like, all right. And then I would like go through the whole fucking store with her and be like, this dress, like, what size are you? Look at her body and be like, this will look good on you. This won't look good on you. Like, I loved that job. It paid minimum wage. So like, I will never do it again. I loved doing that and producing everything. I think I even wrote an article once that was like everything I learned about producing it for reality television. I learned working.
Oh, you gotta give us that link. If you have
probably it's 9 million years old, but like it truly
it's on the internet somewhere.
If I can find it, it's like,
yeah,
I just always, I don't know. And even like now in producing,
that makes sense. The psychology of what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
I never put those two things together, but I think unscripted reality producers are kind of like salespeople in a way.
And it's not even, and like
not in a bad way. Like,
no one should ever feel like you're selling to them, even in clothing. Like the whole, like where I worked, like the whole thing was like, when someone comes out of the dressing room, like make sure you all say that they look great. And I was the only one that wouldn't go. Like, everyone would be like crowded around them. You look amazing. The woman wearing the dress is like, I fucking hate this dress. I look fucking like shit. Like, she'd be like, this dress is hideous. Like, I don't like it. So instead of being like, you look amazing, I would go, what do you think? And then wait for them to tell me what they thought. And then I would proceed. If I really liked it, I would be like, well, that's sad because I really actually like this dress a lot and blah, 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 blah. And like give the reasons. And if they said, I don't really like this, I would say, I like this. Or if I hated a dress and they loved it, I would say, I like this about it, and find one thing to like say that was nice.
It seems
it's like go ahead.
No, please go finish.
No, we so often like lead with like, let me start to sell to someone. And it's like, no. Let's get a baseline of like where you're at.
Right. You're treating them like human beings. You're talking to them like people. You're not trying to like push anything on them. And it seems like you like the interaction with people to kind of like do that. Right. Even from back then. So I think that's been, you're a plus for your skill set going into producing and stuff, producing talent and everything like that. It seems like you're using, a lot of the skills that you learned about in the past. But like an odd job like that, like sales and stuff, like, did you do anything else before you got into the TV world that you think you drew upon, like, to kind of like help you in your job right now? Because that clearly was like, you sound like you're talking. I had flashes of seeing you.
Like in action.
Exactly, in action on set somewhere. So like, I don't know. I was wondering if there's anything else that you could.
I don't think anything like as good. That's the best example for sure. I don't think anything else. I was always like the organizer of plans when I was in college and in high school. I was always the like, you know what I mean? Like, well, if we go here, then we have to go here. And even in my everyday life, I'm like always looking at everything logistically and being like, well, we don't have enough time to do this, and this, like, which is something I'm like, why doesn't everyone think this way? Like, what the fuck? And like, I'll like get annoyed at people because I'm like, why do you think that we can go from here to here and do this and at this time and this place? And you think that 45 minutes is enough time for all this? Like, in no world is that happening. And so it's like weird. I don't know. There's like things that that's not what you asked, but like there's things that then carry over into your real life now that
you're good at logistics. You have a natural like inclination to produce even in your regular life. Not everyone's built that way.
I think he also like has this like his natural sense, or maybe from how you were raised, or like, in the environment that you're in, that you have this like natural inclination of, you're almost like a realist up front. And you rather than just trying to like put up a front and then figuring it out, you kind of think in a certain way where, and I've noticed this before, that you kind of like, you look at things in more practical sense. A lot of people are in their little like la la land, and they're just like, oh yeah, absolutely, we could do all of this in 45 minutes. Absolutely, why couldn't we? Positivity, guys. But you're more like an absolute realist, which I think is, it's helped you in your.
You guys are really gassing me up on this podcast. This is great. I'll come to this whenever you want me to come back. I will.
This episode's about you, so
I think that I like to learn from what happens. Like, not learn from my mistakes, because that's the most cliche thing you could ever say in your life. But like when something happens, and then you start to learn how like people operate. And I think that's a very important skill that not many people think is an important skill, is like to anticipate other people's needs and or like the amount of time it takes to do something. Cause like, even, how do I say this in a coded way to not give anything away that I'm not allowed to talk about, but like I'm working with someone that I've worked with a lot before, and I feel that I'm in a place where I can be very real with them to their face about how they are. And so when they are like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and it's going to take us an hour. And I go, you're going to do this, and then you're going to do this, and then you're going to sidetrack us into this, this, and this, and then we're going to do that. And that'll take us 2.5 hours, and I'm fine with that. And like, that to me is like the key to being a producer, is like, once you learn how someone works and what the timing of the situation is, and what the timing of like, or like, I know they're going to go left and we're going to go with them, and they're going to be on a tangent for 45 minutes. I'm building that into the schedule. You know what I mean? Like anticipating, because like
you're a realist because
it is
it's also good. Yeah. It's also good to have, you're fortunate to have that what do you call it, relationship with the that whoever that person is, to actually say that, because a lot of people are afraid to kind of like admit those things, and then they will build into the schedules in secret, but won't say that, or like, what I mean, or even like hope for the best and not even do that in the schedule. So I think you think differently, and you actually apply that.
And guess what people want more than anything in the whole fucking world? Honesty. Sorry. Yep. Like, just look at me and say, like, this is going to take this long, or
right. Tell me the truth. Right.
Hey, this is a huge problem. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I would rather hear that than everyone be like, oh no, what? Like, it's fine. Like, no, just
which happens a lot.
A huge, like, oh, something really bad is coming. And then I'll be like, all right, we're all being paid to fix this. So like, here we go.
You have to manage expectations, which is a big part of production in general, but like a big part of someone being a good producer, I think.
Right. When I do that, I call it, I think I've told you this before, Canfield, I call it informed consent, where I'm like, I'm upfront. I'm just like, all right, if we do this is going to happen. If we do this is going to happen. If you choose this, just letting you know,
that's going to want to do this anyway. This is what you're agreeing to. Yeah. This is what you're agreeing to. Yeah.
And then now let's do it. And then when it happens, I'm like, all right, well, we planned for this. Let's go.
And like, talent doesn't want you to be like, everything you did was hilarious. Like, you are so great. Like, blah, blah. No, I'm like, oh, that was funny. Like, do you know what I mean? Or like, oh yeah, like, huh, like do this. This was really great. Like, I don't know. They don't want you, like, everyone thinks you have to walk around eggshells on them. They want you to not. Like, they want to be treated like a person. Mm-hmm. Like, up until a certain level where they're like a movie, like whatever. I can only speak for like, the ones that I've worked with, but like,
right.
When you treat them like they're A-list celebrities, then they act like A-list celebrities. When you treat them like that you're your coworker, they're your coworker.
How do you handle when people, you come onto a show and people have already been used, they've already been used to being treated like A-list celebrities. So they've already set a precedent, and you come in with your philosophy. Like, how do you adjust to that? Like, what do you?
I usually come in just strong. I just railroad people, which is like not something you should just do like willy-nilly and not be ready to take on the blowback of it. But I just come on and I'm like, hi, I'm being like, even when I was like an executive assistant, like temp fill in for like a couple months, it was like for these big producers, and they were like, everyone's so scared to like ask. They'll be like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, it's going to take forever. And I would like walk in their office and be like, hi, will you sign this? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. And sign the thing. And I'd be like, thank you. And then just leave. And then they would be like, I can't believe that you got that signed. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not acting like this is the fucking boogeyman on the other side of this door that I sit outside their office. I needed them to sign something. So I asked them to sign it, and they signed it.
Nice.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I just come in and I'm like, hi, I'm not like, I feel I'm very respectful, and I'm very not like, okay, let's snuggle up in bed together. I don't know you, and I'm going to be your best friend. That's not me. I'll be like, hi, what's up? Here, I'm being very straightforward about it, not playing games, not trying to flatter too much, and not trying to like lay it on thick. I'm just trying to like be direct and then like get out of their hair. And then they kind of see that I'm like doing business and not trying to be their Instagram buddy and like be tagged in their pics. And then from that, they then trust me. And then
how do you feel? Because obviously this industry, there are a lot of stories and a lot of people who do act that certain way, not even just to cast the talent, but to like execs and things like that, where they do, want to be their best friend right off the bat and like kiss ass. And, there is, for better or for worse, there is that kind of thing, especially, since we've been around, we've seen a lot of that stuff. Like, what is your perspective on that? Because you don't partake into that, and it's bode well for you. A lot of people are fearful of doing that. I think so. You're living your dream job, right? Your resume's stacked, and
there are times when I'm like, oh, if I would have just like sucked up to a network executive, I could have like been a showrunner by now. Like,
sure,
but I don't know. That's just not how I operate.
Nice.
I don't know. Like, I could have slept my way to the middle, but I didn't. Like,
I like that, slept your way to the middle.
Like I could have I don't know. And you know what? The people that I can always tell when there's someone that I'm like, how did you get here?
Right.
And I'm like, you're absolutely not qualified to be doing this. So like, how did you get here?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That kind of a thing.
Well, not even that, like crossing that line per se, but like, the pandering and like the kind of like kind of you're saying like let's be besties, you know what I mean, like blah, blah, but also be kind of afraid of like telling them what you think. It seems like you don't partake in that kind of thought process. You're just almost like, and forgive me for a lack of what do you call it, lack of words, but it's almost like you don't care if you get fired or something like that, while people have a big fear of that, of the job security and things like that.
Maybe this is just because I'm an egomaniac, but like I always am like, I'm never like, I know that I'm good at what I do. And so I like know that I'm just straightforward with everyone. That's what people want, is honesty. Sorry. If you want me to butter butter you up, then I'll do that. But like, I'm not interested. You know what I mean? If people want to say, why is this way? I'll say because of this. Sorry. Like, and
Nice.
has that gotten me every job in the world? No. But I can never say I wasn't completely transparent and truthful with these people. And so if they're upset about something, it's because I was very transparent and truthful. And right. I can never say, oh, I lied about this and I went behind someone's back and I like backstabbed to get this, or I did that, I tried to get on someone's coat. You can't say that about me, which is like something I take a lot of pride in. And also like,
no, you should.
I'll be very real whenever people want me to be. If they want me to shut up and do nothing, then I'll just do that and I'll just do my job. You know what I mean? Right. But if you want me to tell you how it is, I'll tell you how it is. Right. And I guess the answer is like, I don't care, because it's like, well, then if that's what I'm doing for you all the time, then I don't want to do that job. I'd rather do what I do best and not like make you feel good about yourself.
Right. Fair enough. Canfield, you about to say something?
I was. So is that something you would give a younger version of yourself advice about, or someone trying to get into producing? Just like, be authentic. Don't put on like a coat or a cloak or something. Just like, do the job, be honest, be confident. Put in your own words. You're telling yourself 10 years ago how to do your job now. What are you going to tell yourself?
I would say, one, like, learn everything that you can. Like, for a long time, I was like, I don't need to learn anything about cameras. Like, I'm not a camera person. And now I beg everyone to let me shoot stuff. Why? I don't know, but I do.
You're learning.
Because I'm unwell. And I'm like, I want to be a camera operator now. And they're like, no, you don't. Like, everyone's like, you don't. And I was like, I'm a camera operator. Like, everyone of our friends will tell you that I'm always like, I'll shoot this thing, or like, I'll do this. And they're like, no. So it's learn about everything. And I think another thing is like, be real, but also like, you're a PA and you're at the very bottom. So like, do what you got to do and get out of there. You're not in the club. Like, you haven't earned the right to, and that's very old school that way, in the way of like, be great, be good. Like, I was like doing walk-ups as a PA. Like, I would be shooting like the women's walk-ups, and I was a PA. And it's because I really wanted to, it wasn't because I wanted to have more FaceTime with the women, which I did in secret, but I wanted to actually learn how to be a producer. So I was like, will you please let me do this? And they said, sure. You know what I mean? Like, I was a PA and I was like getting the women like mic'd. I was making sure that they were mic'd. I was making sure that they were like ready to go. I made sure that I brought them around the corner and would like cue them to go do their walk-up with the camera and let them go into the restaurant. Like,
well,
that was not my job.
Right. It's not. But like, wait, but you wanted that position? Are you saying you wanted that position? Or are you saying like, yeah, I should have stayed in my lane?
No, I'm saying I wanted that and I asked for it. And they were like, sure, we'll teach you how to do this. You want to learn? Great. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to learn. I wanted to do stuff. I wasn't just there to like putz around and like be like, all right, I'm in the van. Like, here, you know what I mean? I wanted to like see how the sausage got made. I wanted to see how like the show worked, and I wanted to like be helpful.
Right. You wanted to you want to do a good job.
And now I'm like wanting to learn so much more about like, cause like there's these whole fantasies that I have where I'm like, it's like 1:30 in the morning and like the crew must like go down, but like I can put a camera on my shoulder and like just shoot like, and change media myself and like do batteries. Like, do you know what I mean? It's such a fantasy, but like, there's a fantasy where I'm like, I want to learn how to do this. So in the event that like, we're on a cast trip and the shit's going down and like we have to stop, you know what I mean? Like, the crew has to be broken because it's the last final moment that they can, instead of someone like you, Jeff Tan, having to stay late and be like, I have to then wake up at 6 a.m. You know what I mean? But I'm going to stay until 3 a.m. and film this. I can then put the camera on my shoulder and be like, I can at least try and like get what I can get. And
clearly he's talking about non-union shows, but I admire the tenacity.
The passion. You want to get that. you also want to get that shot, though. I know what.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
for that story.
But something happened, and they need that.
And I don't want to shoot it on my iPhone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want a 75 gigabyte file on my iPhone because I'm shooting it in 4K, and my phone's like overheating and exploding in my hand.
Yeah,
at least you're shooting in 4K.
You shoot a lot in your iPhones, though, because I do see that every so often on shows.
I do.
You do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You see the iPhones that they're giving out? He asked if you got a kit rental for your iPhone.
No, I fucking should.
Come on, man.
You should.
Do it.
Have you seen those? They're giving out they're adding
25
iPhones to with gimbals for produce as the producer cams. While before, back in the day, we had
we had
cams.
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We had that. Well, there's times when they're like, here's this little camera. And I was like, this is a piece of shit. Like, can I just use my phone? And they're like, no, you have to use this one. And I'm like, I don't want to. I want to use my cell phone. Like, please.
Oh, so you set the precedent.
I'm trying to just use my phone because the little cameras suck. They're not even as good as your phone.
Right. No, that was the case. That was the case. And I realize it now. Well, let's back up for a second. But because you said originally you were you always wanted to be a storyteller, or you found some sort of you love storytelling, and you watched reality shows with your mom and stuff like that when you were young and stuff. What is it about storytelling that you kind of like so much that kind of led you here?
You know what? I don't know about, I always loved a story that would be thought provoking. Oh, here's the situation this person was put in. This is not what they did that I thought they would do. And those stories of what does one do when they're faced with a choice that they don't know how to make? You know what I mean? Things like that, that always or even if in scripted movies, I always was oh my God, are they going to go this way or are they going to go this way? You know what I mean? That always, I always liked that. And even looking now, even now, you watch TikTok and all these content creator things, and they think that they're storytellers and they're not. And it's really sad. And I'm not going to try to punch down on TikTokers, but I'm oh, this would have actually been very compelling, but you left out blank, blank, and blank.
Right.
And it's everyone thinks that they know how to tell a story these days. And it's just really, they don't. And it's here's these extra tent poles that you needed to tell me in order for this to make sense. And it really is an art, and it really is something. And I'm not trying to just be we're amazing and everyone else is not, but it really is something you have to think about. And it is something that is instinctual, that is also a learned behavior that you use as you work through the industry and learn what is a payoff and what is not a payoff.
No, for sure.
How many times have you seen a video that's wait till the end, and then it's there's nothing at the end?
No, they're doing this thing right now where they do that, but now the next thing is that they start the video at the tail end of their last sentence. So by the time you get to the end of the video, you hear their last sentence and it leads to the beginning of the video again, and it counts as another view. They're doing that now, if you haven't noticed.
That's so stupid.
I know. But one of the people
for what?
For views, just to get another view on their fucking thing.
For what? Again, for what? Most people
are talking about TikTok specifically right now.
Let's say again.
No, I know. Yeah.
Tan, you were just talking about TikTok specifically, right?
No, they're doing it on YouTube and Instagram and everything it's a new thing since everybody has reels. But anyways, that's why I follow this guy. I like this guy, Casey Neistat. He's an old school guy, but he always said that when
I saw him on the street, saw him on the street one day.
I saw him on the street. Yeah, I try to wait him to. Anyways, I worked with him before. He was a great guy, but one of the things he strives for, he says that he always strives for a beginning, middle, and end on his videos, always, because that's a story. Because he's I don't always get it, but I strive for it, and if I could do that, then it makes that much better. But yeah, so like you said, some people don't have an instinct of that, but so you're drawn to that, from again, reality shows, or just things that you were watching in general when you were young and you wanted to get involved in that. Is that kind of that sparked the fire?
Yeah, it always, and the thing that's so funny is when you used to watch MTV back in the day, everything just seemed so chaotic and it was crazy. It just seemed so crazy, and I was I think
it seemed like it, didn't it?
It just seemed so fun. Do you know what I mean? To be oh, we're in the middle of this and we're shooting and it's think about it. Think about when we go into we're on a vacation, everyone that's there is obsessed with the fact that we're there. and is like freaking out about it. And then we're at dinner and like we're shooting and it's like getting really intense. And then we're going to the next place and we're walking and it's like everyone's there and people are jumping ahead and then this person's here and then we're telling it, like there's something about it that's really fun and like there's a lot of adrenaline involved. And like,
I was just gonna say, you're an adrenaline junkie a little bit, but
the running.
I know, but I don't. But like, just in this sense, like, I don't want to go skydiving. I don't want to like risk my life in other world.
You're an emotional adrenaline.
I know, it is. It's bad.
Yeah. Emotional adrenaline junkie.
Not to tell you what you are, but
no,
like,
you are correct. So
I like what you said in your previous comment. Is like there's an art to storytelling, because that's completely true. In scripted and unscripted, in every genre, and not everyone's good at it. And it is a learned behavior, but it is also instinctual. I think those are key facts right there.
Well, I'm in this book club that's like an online, like Patreon book club, and it's about female celebrity memoirs. And so every month we read a different memoir, and we were reading someone's memoir and everyone was like, this was so good. And this was so good. And like, I love this part about it. And I love this part about it. And I was like, there's something, we're in the first level of this. And like, there's 3 more levels back that she didn't reveal to us at all. And they were all like shocked. And I was like, you guys didn't get this? I was like, you all think that this is it? And they're like, yeah, because, and there's a thing, I don't know. And there was something, and they were like, well, you're the producer, ha, ha, ha. Like, you know what this is like. And I say, like, there's something about it that if she was in an interview chair and what she was saying in her memoir was what she was saying to me in an interview, I would be like drilling into that so hard, because it just feels like it's like the facade of like, this is what I want you to think is vulnerability, and like it's not real vulnerability, and I want to like get to that core. And it's like something we see a lot, like how many other professions outside of like the armed forces are you really seeing people in like true fight or flight response?
Right. Because everybody has a facade
all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we do.
Even in like a cooking competition show, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't have to be like life or death moments. Like, it can be just like something that's very adrenaline inducing, but like, think about that. Like, we work with that in that realm every day. And so it's like to like be able to see that and know this is not that. This is actually someone pretending that they're doing that. And there's something way deeper. And I want to like break through that and get to that core is like what other people can say that.
Right. So even in a scripted show, you like, yes, if like it's such a different medium, because it's like, oh, I'm here's what the character's going through and blah, 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 and we're making this all up because it's scripted. And like, this is how we're going to convey their emotions. And it makes sense and this and that. Like, and I'm not like downplaying any of that. It's extremely hard. Like, there's like how hard is it to direct someone to like, with no words, express exactly how they feel in their face? Do you know what I mean? Like, thinking of like White Lotus season 2, whenever the one, what is her name? Megan Fahey is like the hot guy's wife with the blonde hair.
Yeah.
And that one scene where the guy with the like little kid haircut that I think is like so hot, like he was like, our spouses are fucking each other. And in one shot, her face told you so many emotions, and like we could never recreate that ever in our lives. Like, we have no idea how to do that. She went from I'm thrown, I'm shocked, I'm compartmentalizing all of that right now. I am now going to think of how I'm going to get through this. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. All right, we should go fuck on that other beach over there. And like, that was in like a second. Like, that was the most amazing thing I've ever watched. Truly, 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 I've never seen anyone act as good as I just watched that one.
See, I love that, because you're obviously a fan, and you want to get to the base of like the human condition, like underneath all of that facade of like what people really are when they come to that, like those crossroads and stuff like that. But you just give an example of a scripted show. So like, do you see yourself going into that later for example, like, working with actors and stuff like that? The director will work with an actor to like get to the bottom of that scene, and then just like and then do that artificially until they could act. I
feel like I couldn't do it if it was like artificial.
Really?
Like,
because
I don't know. I don't think there's something about it where I get so involved with the person, like emotionally.
You like the realness of it. It's like reality. There's a lot of a lot of sociology involved in what you're talking about.
Yes.
So rather than just doing a recreation,
you're following humans. You're following real humans.
He wants to do that in real life with real people rather than try to recreate that on the scene. But even though you admire that on the screen, that somebody's able to do that and recreate an emotion on a scripted show that you actually felt.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because it's that was something where I was like, wow, that was so good. Because you felt every single emotion in it in 1 second. Right. And then, but I love
visually, it was a visual. Yes. It wasn't a sound bite.
No.
Yeah.
But there's something about it where it was you then broke through every single layer of her and saw all the different layers collapsing and then her putting them back up in in literally 3 seconds.
Yes.
And so
do you think everyone sees that, or do you think you see that because you're trained to see that, or you?
I don't know. I mean, maybe no one sees it. I was thrown by how great that was.
You probably interpret it a little bit differently because people know that scene and they feel something. They don't know exactly what it is. He's able to break it down, but they know something's up. So as long as you could convey that, you know what I mean? But in your what you're saying is that, you want to do this with genuine reactions of genuine people.
And I think that this is now, and we're going into the cheesy part of this whole thing, but there's a part of it where I'm this is your real story. And it's all these buzzwords that we hear 97 million times, but it really is true. This is your story. This is relatable. You know what I mean? No matter if you're the Queen of Versailles, who literally is out of her mind, or which PS, I would do anything to just.
They just finished another season of that damn show.
That's my pornography, is her just being insane in that house, trying to fix, it's the best thing ever. You know what I mean? And if we really want to go really deep back, it's Grey Gardens is the precursor for every single reality show we've ever seen. Period. Done. End of episode. Bye, everyone. That's been great. You know what I mean? It's the precursor to everything we do, and it's the reason that we have jobs. But being able to go from, here's what I want to portray to the world, and here's all the masks that I'm going to put on to be on this reality show, to us then breaking through those and being but why actually do you want to do this? And I don't care what the answer is. I just want you to be honest with me. Do you know what I mean? I don't need you to sell me anything. I just need to know why you think you need to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? And then that person being because blank and blank and blank, and every other person that lives that exact same life, whether they have $9 million or $2, is oh, I feel exactly the same way. And there's something so real about that you never ever get into with scripted television. And even again, I think I wrote this in my little questionnaire, but John Hamm watches The Real Housewives of New York and New Jersey and loves it.
Right. A lot of
Lisa Kudrow watches The Real Housewives. People are introduced to them that are actors and are I have never been written a soliloquy or a monologue that will ever top Lisa Barlow having a mental breakdown in that van when Jen Shaw is getting arrested. Do you know what I mean? It's people wish that people that are professional actors that are household names wish that they were given source material that was as good as Ramona Singer. Do you know what I mean? It's that and they will say that on a late night show. It's that yes, it's trash. Yes, it's this. Oh my God, these women are drunk. Oh my God, who cares about cooking competition shows? Oh, the Project Runway's been on for 90 million years. But people that we look up to be the tastemakers of society, and the people that are always doing it right because they're A-list actors, which I think is hilarious because it's they're just actors. Why do they get to be the people that are the barometer for everything? But those people are I am enthralled by these people.
Well, speaking so much, obviously speaking so highly of the genre and stuff like that, a lot of people have different, obviously people, especially in that world, they'll never admit that they have a lot of hangups with this stepchild of cinema or whatever they want to call it. It's it's still looked down upon. Obviously you see that in pay and you see that in hours and you see that in conditions and stuff like that. Is there anything you would change with this? As much as you love it, anything you would change about the industry?
I mean, yeah, of course. We should get paid more money and we should do, all the normal health care, all the
something other than
stuff.
that. If you feel
that's yes, of course. But I wish that people, I don't know, we're such a weird time right now. Everyone like wants to be you know what it really is? People need to fucking get with the hold on. I'm like being really now I'm
get it.
up.
Yeah,
like people need to get with the fucking program.
Yeah.
Guess what? For the last like 3 years, everyone's been locked in their houses afraid that they were going to die. So they watched every single fucking thing that you put on the TV. Now everyone has a life again. And so like people aren't like the numbers are down because the world is like back to like normalcy in most places.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a correction. It's a correction.
Like, you know what I mean? So like
I solve the industry right now.
I'm what? No, but like, but they don't, but that's,
Right.
I mean, let me not get on my soapbox about like capitalism, but like, it's so laughable to me that like all we do is look down on people that aren't business owners or entrepreneurs or like aren't self-starters and don't do this and don't do that. And then like the biggest minds in business can't predict that like, when it's safe to go back outside and go on a vacation and not be stuck in your house watching your TV for 12 hours a day and binging the Gilmore Girls for the 97th time, that like people will do that and actually not just stay there and like literally like have Netflix do an enema for them. Like, what?
Right.
What if they knew it was going to happen, but all the CEOs are taking all the money? And it's like
it doesn't.
That's what they did last year.
Like, what did you not think? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Right.
But yeah, the numbers were up. And like, there's so many like articles that are like, now everyone wants the next Tiger King. It's like, that will never happen again.
No, it won't.
No.
It's never going to happen again.
Wait, so are you talking about like that you would change the, I don't know, the way, the write-ups are, or like, like the way the media has like, I don't know, like has overblown everything or something like that right now with the industry?
We so badly want to just always be performing better. Like I always think like, remember like a couple years ago when they're like, will Netflix ever be profitable? Like, remember, because it was like, they were spending so much money and it's like, what if they're not?
Right.
What if they just employ millions of people and make a lot of great content and like those people that make it get paid? What's wrong with that?
Right.
But that'll never be a good enough fan.
They can't sell it to the shareholder because that's.
But you know what I'm saying? It's
yes,
like that. They can't like that's, and I get that that's what business is. Like I get it, but like that's the problem. Like that's why that's what it is.
No, the entire business model of the streaming services and also like networks and stuff like that is like continual growth. Like for like this amount of years, but if you track that, like what they're saying is that it will grow forever. And that's like impossible.
Never going to happen.
Unrealistic expectations.
Unrealistic. But that's like that's what that model is based off of. I think that there'll be subscribership up forever, as if there's no cap on.
Not when there's 10 different streaming services, which is why they're all merging. So.
Right. So
well, and I don't say this to like beat up on like people that would potentially be our employers, but like it's we love all of them. It's more the like the opinion of like the outside like financial world being like you need to have like exponential amount of profit to be seen as like a success, and it's like, but why?
America. And
again, I know why, but like, why can't you just be like, we literally employ like 17 bajillion people and like, look at all the amazing shows that you get to watch because of what we do every day. Is that not success? You know what I mean? But that's its own. I can't get into like I'm going down my own QAnon rabbit hole of like, you know what I mean? Like why, whatever. I don't need it to be political, but like,
I gotcha.
Like, it's so sad that like it used to kind of not be that, and now it kind of is, and that's what I think. Like, but there's no end in sight. Like we have to deal with it. Like
we have to
not
adjust.
What it used to be.
We have to adjust.
Hold on. I'll steer you back around. Do you watch documentaries or do you just watch unscripted TV?
No, I watch documentaries.
Yeah, you watch scripted clearly.
Yeah. What's a documentary you watched recently that you liked?
Recently I haven't.
I think one that you like in the past.
In the past couple of years, the best thing that I've ever watched was it was called Crip Camp, and it was about people that were disabled and like basically like how the disabled people needed to like, no one was standing up for them, so they had to stand up for their own rights. And like the reason that we have to have wheelchair accessible ramps is because these people literally shut down traffic in Manhattan by like just parking in the middle of a very busy intersection, and like went in their wheelchairs. I like literally can't talk about it because I'll start bawling my eyes up, but like went to like the steps of Congress and then like got out of the wheelchairs and crawled up the steps and laid on the like it,
I remember
like,
that
one of the like most beautiful things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I would have never thought of that story. Like I would have never known any of that if we did not have the documentary.
Could you see yourself going into that? Go ahead, finish.
The funny thing is that the bill that was passed to do that was signed on my literal birthday, like the day that I was born. Oh. I was like, wait, this is crazy.
Nice.
I don't know. I mean, like, can I just not like something and not have to be like, I want to do this now?
Fair enough. No, fair enough. But I was curious. Yeah, fair.
What I was going to ask you, and the reason why I asked you if you like documentaries is because I watch a lot of documentaries, and I think there's a huge parallel between like traditional documentaries or something that has an educational point, like what you're just describing, beyond entertainment value. And then also it's in terms of unscripted TV. Obviously, there's a huge spectrum.
Well, did you see that Vulture article that was like real long? That was like every single documentary is basically a reality TV show now. Like they basically were like documentary like doesn't exist anymore. It's just all just reality television.
It's
like,
just about one subject
with more prestige. You know, they want to pull all the punches that we do all the time that are like no brainer things for us. Like that they like want. That's basically what they all like. All of the people want. It was I can find it and send it to you so you can like link it.
Yeah,
but like it's a really good article, and I'm like, we do this. Like I'm like, we are documentarians. What? Like because they basically were like.
I noticed that in the past couple of years that I remember. I just worked on a documentary. We can talk about that later. But I remember everyone's like, no, don't work in documentaries. Or not a lot are made. They don't pay you well. This not. I was like, but if you turn on Netflix or Hulu or HBO,
they're all over the place. Yeah,
they're all over the place.
Oh, I love
series. I mean.
Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
I like that. I know. I know one or two people that worked on that. Yeah.
I think it's great. The standout is it's old now. It's like 5 years old, but Wild Wild Country.
Mm-hmm. I haven't watched that, but I know.
Oh my God. I mean, it is a reality television show, and it's also the best shot I've ever seen in anything ever. The only thing to ever eclipse Ramona Singer watching Scary Island happen and then reaching her hand like this and a wine glass just comes in the frame and she just pulls it and without looking just starts drinking it and like is enthralled. The only shot to ever top that ever is at the very beginning of the first episode of Wild Wild Country. And there's all these people in red just walking down a street and you're like, what the fuck is this? I have no idea what's happening. Like you don't know what's happening at all. And all these people are so excited and they're so excited. And it's a shot that literally I've watched Jeff Tan do 9 million times. So I'm giving you also the accolade of this is like, they start bringing this red carpet down and and you know that someone really important is coming. And that's like what's happening with all the shots. And they roll out this red carpet. And then there's someone with literally a little dirt devil. Like think of the old, like handheld dirt devil. And they're just like starting to like vacuum the red carpet so it's pristine, and the camera just kind of like fumbles around and like zooms out and then zooms all the way in on the like person doing the dirt devil as if it was like someone was just stabbed. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh my God, the most important thing ever just happened, and it's literally someone just dirt deviling a little red carpet for this like cult leader to come and like be a cult leader and all of them like kneel at his feet. And it is the single funniest shot I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's unintentional, and it is truly the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It is a shot that I have watched that same shot, like of you guys being like, oh my God, like so-and-so just spilled their drink all over themselves. And it's funny. Like, okay, let me get there and zoom in on the shots. So we zoom in on them. Like it's hilarious. But again, something that has been so critically acclaimed. I'm like, this is just a reality show and it's amazing.
Right. Well, I mean, with that being said though, like what, where you are now and your perspective and stuff like that, what do you see what's the next step for you then? Because you're clearly you're living your dream job of your childhood right now. Not even just like the one show, but like the capacity of it and doing the things that you want, not the show that you want, like depending on what it is. But what do you see yourself going in the future? Like what's next?
I'd like to, like I'd love to start pitching my own stuff and get it made. That's the hardest thing to do in the whole world right now.
But not haha.
No, like, I have ideas for things. We have Jeff, you and I have sat there at a bar and been like, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. You know what I mean? We both have those things of being like, I want to do this. It's really hard to have someone say, here's $3 million, go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Like that's actually harder than it ever has been before, in my opinion, despite the amount of, opportunity that there should be. I have always pushed against this, and I need to stop pushing against it, is just being in front of the camera more and not in the sense of being on a reality television show because I have no desire to do that. Although I think I could be on Survivor and I think I'd do really good if I just lied to everyone and told them I wasn't a producer, because I feel like I'd be able to look at the camera, like what the cameras were doing, and I would know what was happening.
Right.
But I think for that exact reason, they would never cast me on the show.
Right.
They would never. But like, I think I could be like, this has to be over here because like I'm watching them do a connecting shot from this random tree that means nothing to me. So I know that there's something there. Is it an idol? Like, I think they would want to murder me, but
right. What kind of in front of the camera?
I don't know, because I don't want to be this is like a very real conversation we're having on this microphone right now.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be a critic. I don't want to be someone who's constantly like having to review things I don't want to. I don't want to, and I love making television. That's the other thing, is like people are like, what do you really want to do? And I'm like, no, but I really do love being a producer. Like I do.
Right, that's great.
But there's a part of it, and I don't want to have to ride on the coattails if I'm a producer to do this. I don't know. Is there a world in which I could like start making podcasts about things that have nothing to do with reality television? Yes. Is there a world in which I could start to like dream is like, I get which again is like everyone's fucking dream, like get an overall deal with like someone and they're like, give me all of your ideas and let's make them.
Right.
Again, is that an absolute night, like just like fever dream? Yes. But
maybe
like that would be fun. Like, I don't know, that would be really great to be able to be like, I want to make a documentary about blank. And not, again, I'm extremely aware that no one's waving a magic wand and just letting that happen. I literally had a conversation with someone the other day that was like, I have this idea for this documentary. Like, how do I do it? And I was like, you're going to shoot it yourself. And I was like, because I know that your friend that's setting us up on this call, it has cameras and can shoot. So you're going to shoot it yourself. You're not going to go to Netflix or HBO Max or Peacock with this idea, because it's going to get clogged up in like,
it's going to get buried
for 9 million years. And then you're never going to do it. And then by the time it's time to do it, it's going to be over and it's not going to be worth doing anymore.
Right.
So you should shoot it. Like, you know what I mean? So I know that like, what I really need to do is just start doing things myself. Like in the fantasy world of my fantasies.
Take your own advice. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In the fantasy world, it's like, I start to shoot some stuff. I have it. People like it. We get in a conversation.
Right. Win an Oscar, short doc.
No, not even that. But not even that. But like, I don't know. People are always like, we love hearing you. I don't know why, but people are like, you're so funny.
I tell you that all the time.
We love hearing you. Like, you should talk more about this. And I'm like, sure. Like, I don't know. I've always pushed against that. And I think maybe like the next thing I need to do is just not do that.
Why do you think that you push against it though? I mean,
I don't know.
It's so natural.
Because there was something so icky about it when I was like younger in the industry of being like, I'm being a PA, but I really just want to be on camera. And I really, truly did not want to be on camera. I didn't want to do it. But the more that is there a hybrid that I could do it and like still be a producer, but then also do things in front of the camera? That would be fun.
Yeah, there absolutely is. I mean, yeah. So that's basically your dream, is to kind of like make a hybrid and like be on the camera and off when you want to, make your own ideas, documentaries and reality shows and everything like that. And
but like, what I don't want to do is like, just like have to make social media stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I hate, like, I have no desire.
That's like the first thing. If you ever get an agent or a manager, that's the first thing they're going to tell you is like, so what's your count? Yeah. What's your follower count like? And we got to get that
and like,
up.
I have a podcast where, and like we talk, like I put stuff about my podcast on my social, but like, I'm never being like, okay, I need to do like, go shoot a bunch of stuff for like content day. Like I never want to.
That's what I'm, yeah.
Unless I know there's like real money coming in because of it. I'll fucking.
Do you want to?
I'll do whatever. You know what?
Do you want to talk about your podcast before we finish up?
Yeah. So my podcast, it's me, myself, and Dominic Pupa, who is a showrunner that's been in the industry for a very long time.
Love Dom.
You guys, I'm sure both know him. Yeah. It's a podcast called Fixing Famous People, where we take like, you know, when Gwyneth Paltrow was being sued by that man because she might have hit him on the ski slope. We, you know, when Harry and Meghan had broken away from, you know, when Harry's book came out and they came out with the documentary Harry and Meghan on Netflix, when, you know, when all these celebrities do all these things, when Mindy Kaling is being accused of using Ozempic, we're coming there. We're like, they're in bad PR. We talk about it with a guest. We pitch Dom and I both pitch from our producing backgrounds, pitch how they're going to get out of the bad PR. And then our guest picks who they think is the winner. And then we win for that day and we get bragging rights. And we talk about we talked about the Oscars. We've done Harry and Meghan. We've done Rachel Dolezal. You know, we're all over the map. Rachel Dolezal. We're wondering if Wendy Williams is alive. Like,
nice.
Demi Lovato is concerning to us. We have some good. We have Lindsay Lohan's coming down the pipe.
Nice.
We have a Marvel episode coming up.
Love that.
There's no stone left unturned for us, and so it's very wacky and off the wall, and we're two idiots being idiots, and we love it.
And it sounds funny though. That sounds great.
It's very funny.
People can find that on all the podcasts
everywhere that you can find it. It's there. My Instagram is at the DeRosa. If you go there, you can find the links to it. It's we put stuff up each week. We're going to start doing a Patreon soon once we kind of get where we want to be. But
love that, man.
It's funny. It's fun to just.
I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. But that goes to again why people just want to hear you talk. You probably could read the phone book, and people will love it. So, yeah, thanks, man. There's so much stuff that I feel like we should get to, and your opinions and stuff like that. But tonight, unfortunately, we have to end it and leave the people wanting more. So I think,
as you can see, I have a setup. I'm ready to go whenever.
Nice. Yeah.
So I'll come back and give my opinion on just about anything.
Yeah. Pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
All right. We're going to stop recording. You don't have to get off, but we're going to stop recording. Thanks, everybody. Bye.